Welcome to SPCA Stories. In honor of National Volunteer Appreciation Week, we are revisiting one of our favorite conversations, highlighting the heart, dedication, and impact of our incredible volunteers. Today, we're resharing our episode featuring Chris Patton, a volunteer with our Wildlife Rescue and Rehabilitation Center. Chris is one of the many compassionate individuals who give their time and energy to care for wild animals in need, helping them heal and return to the wild where they belong. As you listen, we hope you'll be inspired by Chris's story and by the powerful difference volunteers make every single day.
My name is Chris, and I am a volunteer at the SPCA Wildlife Center.
How long have you been a volunteer?
About 18 years.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't have exact, but at least 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So we are really lucky to have you in this room right now. I'm so excited.
I've seen a lot of change.
I'm sure you have. I've been around 16 years.
Okay.
So you were here a little bit longer than I have been. So, wow, that's exciting. How did you end up volunteering here?
I saw an ad in the paper. That's when we used to put ads in the paper for baby bird season. They were getting a lot of baby birds, and I wasn't working anymore, and my boys had flown the nest, and it just sounded really interesting, and I just came in.
Wow. So had you always had an interest in animals and wildlife, or was this just something that...
Yeah, I mean, on the side I was a nurse, so it was also kind of an easy segue into caring for animals, not the same, but still some medicine. But yeah, I've always been interested in wildlife and, the great outdoors. So
wow, so you answered an ad 18 or so years ago, and here you are.
Yes.
Wow. So did Dee Dee come in before you? Because I know she's been here longer
Well,
than I
that's why I say 18 years, because I wrote out some of her original notes, so I know I was here when she came in, and she came in 18 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
So
tell us about Dee Dee.
So Dee Dee is a red-tailed hawk that came in 18 years ago, and she's 20 years old now. And we were not able to release her back into the wild like we hoped because of some injuries. She spent a lot of time in our L-shaped pen, us trying to get her to fly, and she just didn't fly. So we got permits to keep her as an ambassador education bird. And I learned to work on Dee Dee from another guest you had, Jamie Lima, taught me how to work with her. She was my trainer.
Wow. And so was that sort of the natural course of things when you got here? You did baby bird season and helped out with that, and then...
Yeah, I didn't work with Dee Dee right away.
Mm-hmm.
That was always sort of staff who worked with her. And then Jamie asked me if I wanted to work with her. She was going to go down to the barn, and Jamie was going to the barn. And so my answer was, of course, yes. So she trained me on her. And then we slowly built up an education program with her.
Right. So now you go to schools and different...
Huge program now, which is great.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Before, I want to talk about Dee Dee a little bit more, but so what other things do you only work with Dee Dee, or do you work?
No, I have a regular shift at the Wildlife Center like all the other volunteers. So I come in Tuesday mornings and do volunteer work. So right now, it's all about babies. So I like the early shift so I can help start the timers and get the babies weighed and cleaned out and get ready for the day. So, and lots of laundry, lots of dishes.
Yes, I know that you are all busy.
Yeah.
Very, very, you're always busy, but this is a busy season.
This is the busiest.
So we're approaching summer. Late spring, early summer. Summer's coming. So,
yes.
So how would you describe the Wildlife Center and what you do at the Wildlife Center to somebody who maybe has no clue that we even have one of those here?
The Wildlife Center is basically a hospital for native wildlife in Monterey County. And now we're doing South County because they lost their wildlife group. So we are basically there for people who either called to have us pick up injured animals that they see out on wherever in the water, on land, or we ask them to bring them in. And we are also, right now, we're an orphanage for all the babies that come in right now. Like I think as of last week, it was maybe 3/4 of our patients were opossums. So we have lots of baby opossums right now.
Oh, goodness.
And we also serve a very important job is we're a resource center for people who call in that are trying to live with wildlife. Our boundaries are getting more and more blurred as we expand where we live. And so we help to provide suggestions for people who may see a skunk in their backyard or coyotes running through their field of how you can safely live with them and maybe even discourage them from being in your backyard in the city.
Wow.
So
it's a busy center.
Yeah, it's a very busy center.
So one of the things I do before, we've already started rolling with this conversation, but I give a compliment to all of my guests, something that is specific to them. And first of all, as a volunteer, I don't know you. I don't know you very well, but I see you a lot, and we cross paths and all those things. And I am just so amazed and grateful for all of the work that you do. You can tell you're passionate about it. You're committed to what you do, and I'm just in awe. And I can't remember. I did my research, Chris, but I read that you were a retired nurse, and I just thought how perfect for you. And you even said it a little bit earlier that it was just a natural transition into the caring and the medicine and all of that. So thank you for that. And we're so lucky to have someone with your knowledge and your attention to detail, and you really care about what you do. So thank you.
Thank you.
So this organization is made up of wonderful, caring, hardworking people who just work tirelessly for the animals. And I want that out in the world, and maybe will inspire someone. So that's what it's about for me. So that's why I like to set the tone, just letting you know how much we appreciate you and all of that. So
thank you.
I know. Back to Dee Dee.
It's all about Dee Dee.
She's pretty great. So she's getting up there in years, huh?
She's 20, so that's kind of upper middle aged. It would be older in the wild, but since she lives a pretty nice life where she is, sort of pampered, protected would be a better word. We hope she'll live to about 30.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. So now when you take her to schools and different venues, what's that like?
Every class is different.
Sure.
Every group is different. So there are 3 of us who handle Dee Dee. So Phil and Nancy are also handlers, and they go to classrooms also. Usually we bring 2 to a classroom. That's just kind of an important number rather than one person. And it's different reactions. Sometimes it's like, whoa, and sometimes they're kind of quiet. So you just never know. But my favorite is always questions. We really encourage questions. I've done whole presentations. I just given up my talk and just made the talk out of their questions because I want the students to be interested, and I want to answer things that they're interested in about the hawk. So, yeah.
Can you think of any crazy questions you've gotten? It's got to be kind of strange being in school and suddenly
usually the odd question, the different questions are mainly about the wildlife center. So if the children are very young, we get a lot of do you have different types of animals at the Wildlife Center? Do you have unicorns and do you have cheetahs or something like that? And we just sort of answer that with, well, they're not native to Monterey County, but if they were, I'm sure we would have them. So, so that sort of thing. But no, actually, the questions are always amazingly insightful, I think. Even young, like first grade, can ask some amazing questions. So, and if I don't know the answer, it's a good reason for me to go back and try to find out the answer.
Absolutely. So, I remember hearing, getting questions like, do you guys have alligators?
Yeah.
And it, well, no, same thing. But we did have a Nile monitor once.
I did not know that. But it would have been up top, right?
Yeah.
Because we get the exotics also.
Yep. Yes, we get the exotics. And I remember one summer we had a Nile monitor and the campers were so excited about this. And it was a baby. It was a relatively young Nile monitor and it was about a foot long.
Oh.
And they were saying, our experts in the Wildlife Center were saying that this guy could grow to be 6 feet long. When full grown, and the kids' eyes got really big. They're like, well, how big, how tall, what is that? Because they were trying to figure out what they could reference. Someone said, well, like a basketball player. So all summer long, they're like, where's the basketball Nile monitor? Can we go see him again?
Visuals are really important to kids. I'm always trying to, because there's a lot of numbers that are stated in presentations. So I'm always trying to think, well, what does that equate to? Like how tall? Or
how tall. That's not just
spread your arms.
Player size.
Yeah.
Professional basketball player Nile monitor. So that was our thing all summer long. So, why? So 18 years. 18 years with us.
And I was in the barn for a while.
Oh, and you were in the barn?
Mm-hmm.
So would you say you're passionate about what you do?
Oh, yeah. I carry a box around with me in the back of my car in case there's a seabird on the beach or something. So we all do. I mean, all of us do that. So it's a very committed group of people at the Wildlife Center.
What makes you so passionate?
I don't know. Probably some of it has to do with caretaking again. I would guess that's a lot of it. I mean, you were talking about volunteering, but, I think a good number of us think of it as a job. We treat it like a job.
Yes.
This is your shift. You show up and all that we've learned at the Wildlife Center just makes us more aware of wildlife out there. So you look at everything very differently. If I'm biking on the bike path in PG, I'm always sort of looking down at a beach to see if there's any birds that look weird or something. So you never get away from it. But and then you have people who call you. I mean, I was stopped on the way over here this afternoon by a neighbor who had a snake in her yard and she didn't know what it was and she wanted to know if she could call the Wildlife Center. So I just think you look at the world differently,
right?
Once you work with the animals.
Wow. What is the most difficult part about what you do?
The hours. Less so for volunteers, I think, but I think it's hard when not every animal makes it. And you have to, the staff who are amazing have to make those tough decisions. And they may have been caring for an animal or a bird, put a lot of effort, and then it would be kinder to euthanize it. So I think that's hard.
Yes.
We have people who can be very upset when they call the Wildlife Center because they want us to come out because they care about the animals. And if we're not moving fast enough to come out, that can be difficult. But I think if you just remember that they're calling because they care.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That makes a difference.
Absolutely. That's a good way.
But emotions can run high sometimes with wildlife.
Absolutely.
And probably with all the animals, I would imagine.
I hear this is a very common thread.
Yeah.
In when I talk to people, is that can be that aspect of it is hard.
Yeah.
So what do you do for fun, Chris? Because there's got to be
outdoors and look for birds now.
Because there has to be, we talk about this with the staff, and it's because there are things that are difficult, and you could have some really bad days strung together. Work-life balance, and like you said, it's like a job for you. Yes, we're talking volunteering, but this is like a job. What's your self-care?
Always important for me to get out. Mm-hmm. Either walk, run, bike, whatever. Mm-hmm. We're lucky enough the street where I live ends on the back part of Toro Park, so I can immediately get into trails and fire roads. And so, I do that almost every day. So that's really important. Yeah. I have 2 dogs. Family's important. So spending time with my family.
Good.
But just being out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What have you learned that you think people should know?
I would just like to see, I would like people to accept wildlife as being part of where we live, instead of separating people on one side and wildlife on another. I think we could cohabitate a little easier that way. And it would be nice to have people see how hard wildlife staff works. I mean, they are so committed and they work really hard. And just to know, I think a lot of people think that we can't always come out right away. Mm-hmm. We may be just opening the hospital, so we can't send somebody out right away, but we do try to get out as soon as we can. So patience with that.
Yes.
But the main thing I think is useful to just remember we're all part of this web and we all kind of have to coexist together in some way.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any advice? If there's someone out there who's, listening to you and they think, wow, this wildlife center, that sounds really neat. How would I get involved? What advice do you have for them?
It's a question I get asked a lot, and I'm very encouraging of people to volunteer at the Wildlife Center. I mean, the easiest thing is obviously to go to the website, and you can pull up, volunteer options and volunteer at the Wildlife Center. And the Wildlife Center is not the same as the other. We're lucky at the SPCA to have the barn for, we have lots of different animals, so you can choose what you think you might want to work with. Mm-hmm. I think, although the barn can be very intense at times too, but I think the Wildlife Center this time of year especially can be very intense. And, but it's wonderful because things change very fast. You come in one week and then you come in another week and they've released animals and it's a whole new board sometimes there. So you don't know what's coming in. You have to be okay with working with animal poop.
Yes.
Lots of dishes. I mean, we don't, everyone does everything. Mm-hmm. Even staff does dishes if they get too full, or they'll do the laundry. So it's a dirty job, but it's an amazing job. To be able to feed little mockingbirds or squirrels or what have you, I just think is such a gift to be able to do that. I highly encourage people, if they're interested, to do that. It's an active job too. You have to kind of be active.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you guys are running around all the you drive by our little office here all the time, and there's lots going on out there. So what's the most interesting animal you've ever worked with? I know you have Dee Dee. She's pretty spectacular, so.
Yeah, hard to. I mean, I'm also a big fan of pelicans. I will admit to that. I love the pelicans. Probably the most different ones, I've not really worked with them because that's staff. Some animals are staff only, volunteers. You can watch them, but they're, because of the nature of the animal, we may not be okay with holding them or what have you. But we've had a couple badgers in. Those were pretty wild. Need big gloves for them. And we had a booby or two, the exotic birds that caught a boat ride, and one was in Moss Landing, I believe. It was on the boat, so that was it a blue-footed booby? And then we had another one that was maybe the year before. So those are probably the most exotic of the ones we get in. We'll get in, we've had more bobcats in. It's becoming a problem with rodenticide. They are forming a connection with rodenticide or rat poison with bobcats and coyotes having mange, like bad condition of mange. So we're starting to see more of that. And that's become a little more focus in our talks with Dee Dee in the classrooms. We gear it to the age, but I think it's important for young people to hear that because they're the next group coming up. Yeah. So I think it's important to talk about some of the dangers to hawks or raptors, and that's one of them.
What are your hopes for the future of animals and wildlife in our community?
I'm just hoping for more coexistence. I think there's some misinformation out there, and I think if we could work at keeping our pets a little safer, maybe that might not rub up against each other. I mean, there are predators out in our area, and I think maybe if we could we all want to protect our pets, but maybe some of them should be indoor pets. Maybe that would work out better. Well, it's nice to chat with you.
It's nice to chat with you too. And I want to just thank you so much again for your dedication and your hard work and the way that you support our staff. And
thank you.
It's amazing. It's worth its weight in everything. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this special re-release of SPCA Stories in celebration of National Volunteer Appreciation Week. Chris's story is just one example of the incredible impact our volunteers have on the lives of animals, both domestic and wild. Their dedication, compassion, and willingness to step in when animals need help most truly makes our work possible. To all of our volunteers, we see you, we appreciate you, and we thank you. If you're inspired to get involved, we'd love to welcome you into our volunteer community. To find more information on volunteer opportunities, visit spcamc.org. And if you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it and help us celebrate the people who make these stories possible. Dawn Fenton here, signing off until next time. Much love to you and your pets from us here at SPCA Monterey County